Hi everyone, it's Melissa. It's October 1st, which means it's the first day of Victober, and I've decided I'm going to try to vlog some of my Victober reading. So I have the day off work today. I actually don't know how much reading I'm going to get done because I have a few other things I want to do, but I'll probably read at least a bit, and I figured I might as well make this like a weekend reading vlog, or maybe even a week long. We'll see how it goes. The first thing I'm going to do this morning is actually go to some little free libraries. I'm going to go do that today. The two things I want to start for Victober are Silas Marner, because that's quite short, and I still am struggling a little bit with concentrating on physical books. Although my energy has picked up, so I do feel a lot better. I still am struggling a little bit. So Silas Marner is pretty short, so I'm going to read that physically. And the other thing I wanted to start is Lady Audley's Secret on audiobook. So I've downloaded it. I'm going to listen to the first part in my car, and I'll check back soon. Oh my gosh. I read this book last year, and it was like one of the worst things I've ever read. I'm back home now. Good news and bad news. Bad news, I didn't find anything at any of the little free libraries that I really wanted. Good news, I was able to get rid of all of my books. I think I ended up putting like 10 or 12 or something in those little free libraries. So I'm glad to get those books out of my house. And more good news, I was able to read a little bit of the audiobook of Lady Audley's Secret, and so far so good. I mean, I only read 3 chapters or something, I think. We are introduced to Lady Audley and her husband, like how she became a Lady Audley, and then we jump to these other 2 characters who are returning to England on a boat. They had both been in Australia trying to make their fortunes, and they're returning. And I'm suspecting that they are going to be connected to either Lady Audley or her husband, or both in some way. So we'll see where that goes. Right now I am going to make myself a cup of tea, make some lunch, and get started on Silas Marner. I just finished chapter 1 of Silas Marner. So far I really like it. George Eliot's writing style is going to be interesting, I think. I've heard she's a bit of an acquired taste, maybe. But then when I did my October TBR, I was unsure if this was a good place to start, but a lot of people said that it was, and I suspect her other books might be a bit more difficult. Her writing is not very, I guess, straightforward. Some of her points kind of meander. I don't find that particularly annoying or anything. I quite like her writing style so far, but I can kind of see that this story might be easier to follow, whereas maybe some of her other novels, I could see that being a challenge to try to navigate her writing. She doesn't seem like the type that is going to hand you anything on a platter, that you'll have to kind of work through the subtleties. So really good so far. We have kind of been introduced to the main character. He's kind of a loner, a hermit, and the first chapter gives you that backstory of why he's bitter, that he was basically betrayed by his closest friend. So I found that all very compelling. So far so good. In celebration of the first day of Victober, I kind of feel like watching the Jane Eyre adaptation tonight. It is, however, already like 20 after 9. So there is a real threat that I will fall asleep during the movie, but I think I'm going to at least give it a try. That was really boring. Last night I was much too tired to explain my thoughts on the Jane Eyre adaptation. I think by the time the movie was over, it was around midnight. The movie was really boring. And if you've read Jane Eyre is not a boring book. A lot happens. There is a ton of character development, and there are a ton of like plot-driven things. There are a couple of over-the-top things that happen. Like a lot happens in that book. And with the movie, it just felt like nothing was happening. And the parts that in the book I found very over the top and like almost melodramatic, I felt like they downplayed too much in the movie. And I don't know if maybe the actors were worried about like hamming it up, but like Mr. Rochester just was not over the top enough for me. The characters were like way muted and boring. Everything was just boring. Even like the cinematography and stuff, like, not that it was bad, like a lot of the landscapes like looked really cool, but my critique is that dreariness is not synonymous with gothic. It did not feel gothic, it just felt dreary. All in all, I thought the movie was like horribly bland. Anyway, on a good note, I have continued with Silas Marner a little bit, and I'm still very much enjoying that. I like the different characters we're getting introduced to, so you're kind of learning about other people in the little village, the countryside where Silas Marner lives. Very pleased with this read so far, and I will update you later. So it's another Friday. I have been reading both Lady Audley's Secret and Silas Marner all week, but just haven't had the opportunity to film. But I have this Friday off again, so I am going to read a little bit more and then update on my thoughts about them, because I don't think I'll finish them today. I've just been kind of lazing around all morning, and I'm about to go for a walk, so I thought I would show you some of the scenery, because October is my favorite month. The leaves are changing color, and it's like my perfect temperature. I hate the heat, so these like breezy, crisp fall days are just my favorites. And I'm feeling energized enough to tackle my garden bed. I'm going to show it in a second, but essentially I did not have the time or energy this summer to do anything with my garden, so it's completely overgrown with weeds. This is what it looks like right now. We had soil here, I had plants, but it is growing over the walkway. It's bad. It's real bad. Also, my little beds here and over there are also bad, but we're going to tackle this another day. I am going to try to get all of this weeded. So I finished. I'll show you the results. It's not perfect. There's lots of little bits I didn't get, but it looks so much better, and it's the end of the season, so I'm not really concerned with it looking perfect, but it's not the eyesore that it was. This is the huge pile of weeds. Can I put my foot, like, for scale? There's my foot. That's the pile of weeds. And here's what it looks like now. Look at this. I still have to like sweep and stuff, but look. I am super pleased with the results. I'm gonna head in now. My husband just went to get me a poutine, bless him. I'm going to read a little bit more of Silas Marner. I'm still not very far into that. I'm 50 pages in, and the copy I have is like 175 pages or something like that. So I don't have much to update there, but I have read probably close to 40% of Lady Audley's Secret. I'm enjoying it. I'm engaged in the story, but I can't help comparing it to The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, which is the only other Victorian sensation novel I've read, so it's my only point of comparison. And I love that book so much. I gave it 5 stars. My cat's going crazy. But it was just so like over the top. I think I described it as being almost like a soap opera. It was so twisty and turny and just like all the convoluted plot points, but I loved it. Lady Audley's Secret, I think the reason I'm not enjoying it quite as much as The Woman in White is because in The Woman in White, there's a real sense of urgency because you are fearing for the characters' safety, the safety of multiple of the characters, really. And in Lady Audley's Secret, at least so far, maybe this will change, but I'm not fearing for anyone's safety. There is a mystery surrounding a certain person, well, a couple of people, that our main character is trying to solve, but right now they're working on the assumption that this missing person is probably dead. Like, maybe that will turn out not to be the case, but at this point it seems like this person is probably dead. So there's no sense of urgency, there's no sense of fearing for someone's safety, and I really liked that feeling in The Woman in White. It made it very thrilling and like, oh my god, are these people going to get caught? Is this person going to kill this person? Or is this person, you know. But here I'm not getting that same sense. It's reading more of a mystery right now than it is a sensation novel. Pardon me. Hey, don't pick my couch. Stop it. Okay. So yeah, so not bad as like kind of a mystery novel, but as a sensation novel, I need a little more punch. Just realized that I best wrap up this vlog. I finished Silas Marner, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through Lady Audley's Secret. Lady Audley's Secret is starting to wane. I'm not enjoying it quite as much anymore. At the beginning I thought it was, you know, engaging enough, and I was invested, but there aren't any really twists or turns in the plot. There were a couple of, like, redirects, I guess, very early on in the novel, but from, like, that point early on till now, you know exactly what's going on. You know who's responsible for everything and why, basically. And you're just watching the protagonist trying to piece the evidence together to prove what's happened. And I don't find that very compelling. Like, I know who did what and why am I sitting around just, like, waiting for the main character to catch up? I mean, I'll finish it, but if I, like, just, like, lost the book now, I wouldn't track down another copy, put it that way. My thoughts on Silas Marner are that it was delightful. I'm interested to read other George Eliot novels. I really liked how she depicted, like, the countryside and the kind of, you know, those characters you get in small towns. I thought that was really fun. And there were a couple of relationships in that book that I thought were really well drawn. And I enjoyed watching those relationships develop and the characters develop. And it was very charming and heartwarming. So that was a nice experience. And I'm excited to read more George Eliot now. So I think that's all I have to say. And I hope you are enjoying enjoying your Victober reads if you are reading any Victorian literature this month. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll chat soon. Bye.